This is something I'm currently going through, and I was doing as much research as I could, just Googling scientific papers, studies, looking through YouTube and stuff. And in terms of people's experiences, there's not a lot out there. If you look on YouTube, there's mainly just dentists talking about how to prevent this issue if it comes up, and or what to do with it if it comes up, and it's very medical sounding stuff, and it doesn't come from experience. And I think people, well, myself anyway, get a lot out of hearing people's actual experiences of these types of very awful things. It tends to give you hope, and it allows you to relax a bit. There's really not much out there, so I wanted to release this video for anyone who's going through this or knows someone who's going through this, because it truly is awful, beyond words, how difficult it's been. So the story starts with this tooth. It's my bottom left molar here. Sorry, right molar. And it's been an issue for a long time. It's sort of had to keep getting fillings and stuff. Eventually there was a bit of pain there, an infection in this side of the neck, on the same side. So I ended up we tried filling it, the filling kept failing, so I did a root canal, like the first part of it where they get rid of the root. The tooth itself didn't hurt anymore, but there was still an infection that just kept going, and all these weird pains in weird areas, like in the neck, behind the throat here. It felt like I constantly had like a virus or something there that was causing inflammation and stuff. And I noticed that I was getting sick a lot, and I don't really get sick much, like once, twice a year, if that. Well, before COVID, after COVID, everyone seemed like they got sick a lot more. But this was like every week for a few days. I would get some kind of cough or virus or sore throat or something, and it was very strange, and this was happening for ages. The doctor put me on amoxicillin, 500 milligrams, 3 times per day. It did seem to sort of, I guess, it didn't get rid of the infection, but it just sort of calmed it down a bit. The tooth was such an issue, and I kept spending so much money on this fucking tooth that I just said to the dentist, look, let's just get rid of the tooth. It makes sense to me that the tooth was an issue. There was this gaping hole because of the root canal that was partially done. It's causing infections. Obviously, if we get rid of the tooth, it's going to fix the infection. You would think so. The dentist said she doesn't know. They could be unrelated things. The doctor seemed to think it makes sense, that it's the tooth, it's on the same side, it's the same area, it makes sense. So after multiple courses of antibiotics, I went on amoxicillin, I went on Augmentin. Augmentin worked to a degree while I was on it, but as soon as I got off it, this infection would come back. It's a 5-day course. Amoxicillin again. Eventually she ripped out the tooth, and that was I think that's about a week and a half ago now. It's Christmas period at the most. It's New Year's Day right now, actually. This was like the Friday before Christmas that I said, please just get rid of the tooth. It was a bit traumatic, the procedure, in terms of it did seem fairly difficult to get the tooth out, but eventually she got it out. Everything was fine for about 24 hours. And then I started to get this pain that I'd never had before, different from any of the pain that the tooth had given me before. More pain than I think I've ever experienced in my mouth anyway. This pain was something else. And I was Googling, and I went back to the dentist, and she's like, yeah, it's dry socket. So what happens is if for whatever, it happens more on the lower jaw than the upper jaw because there's less blood flow. It happens more, I think, if you're over 30, which I'm 39. It happens more if you smoke. I don't smoke at all, or if you have any underlying conditions, which I don't have. So I was just unlucky and I got it. It's where the blood clot just breaks apart or doesn't form properly. So essentially, you have exposed bone and nerves just sitting there waiting to be healed, and it's excruciating. It's pain that I never, nothing touched this pain. I went to the doctor. He gave me, we call it endone here. It's just oxycodone. I have an addictive personality, and I straight away recognized that in this stuff. As soon as I started to take it, I was like, yeah, this is good. So I got rid of them, even though honestly, the pain is better than having to deal with an addictive personality once it's been activated. So I got rid of those, and I would wake up in the middle of the night, maybe 3 a.m., 2 a.m., just with this sharp, never-ending pain. Once these painkillers wore off, and then it's constant. It's 24 hours a day. It never goes away. It didn't matter what I did. I went back to the dentist again. She did something, cleaned it out, put another dressing. It lasted 24 hours, and then it just came straight back again. So, yeah, it really is no joke. And because of the period that it happened, this was over a Christmas. So, essentially, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and Boxing Day, I was just in excruciating pain. I spent the time alone because I was just, all these antibiotics and drugs, and my body is just so out of balance. And pain, when you have pain like that, everything falls apart. Like I couldn't clean my house properly. I couldn't put things away. I couldn't focus on anything. Everything was a mess. And to be experiencing that over the holiday period, where normally I would be with some friends and be able to do something, and I was just, I live alone. It's very difficult experience, to be in that much pain on your own in that period of time. A lot of things came up, which ultimately is good. You get to face a lot of things in yourself, and things make you stronger, right? But it doesn't take away from the fact that it was fucking awful. So, I started to. The dentist didn't really help me as much as I would have thought. Like, I have a friend who's a dentist, and she straight away gave me all these things to, like, irrigate it out and all this stuff. But my dentist didn't do that. She just sort of said, "Oh, you just gotta wait," and I really didn't appreciate that. And I was like, this has happened so many times in my life where you go to these people and you spend a lot of money with these people for health related things, and they don't know what they're doing, and they tell you all these things. It's just, it just seems like nonsense. So you have to take matters into your own hands, and I would suggest everyone do this. Obviously, if you've got a serious illness, do what the doctor says, but also don't trust them blindly. Go and study it yourself. It's all there for free on the internet. You can see all the peer-reviewed papers where they've collected hundreds of studies, and they know what works. This is an issue that's been going on for centuries, and they know about it, and they know what works. So I did a ton of research. What I figured out is that if I take 1,000 milligrams of paracetamol and 600 milligrams of ibuprofen at the same time, that will get rid of the pain, maybe dull it down from a 9 to a 2, so it's fine, for 4 or 5 hours. So I just started doing that every day. I don't like doing all this fucking drugs and antibiotics and shit to my body, but compared to the pain, I just had to do something. So that does work, so that's what I recommend. Start with that. If you can handle opioids, go for it. They're fucking addictive. I don't want anything to do with them again. And they mess you up so much in terms of, they just zapped me of any will to do anything. Really powerful things, especially the oxycodone level ones. I find codeine a little triggering for me, having an addictive personality. If I take enough codeine, I get triggered into that addictive monster comes out. People who have the addictive personality will be familiar with this. and I had a couple of experiences with that over the last couple of weeks or so. So I got rid of it, and I promised myself I'm not going to have any self-administered opiates again. I mean, if I have to go to hospital or something, give it to me, then fine, I'm monitored. But if I'm on my own, I have them. It's triggering. But that does work. So 1,000 milligrams of paracetamol and 600 milligrams of ibuprofen taken at the same time helped with the pain. And then what I started doing, I got Colgate Peroxyl, it's called. It's peroxide. It doesn't have any alcohol in it. It just has a little bit of peroxide in it. I started washing my mouth out with that. I did the salt water flushes as well, just salty water, washing your mouth out with that. They didn't really seem to do anything for a fair while. They did research on vitamin C. If you take 4,000 milligrams per day, it increases the healing time. So I started doing that. I'm taking collagen every day as well to assist. Vitamin C assists in collagen production, which is essential for wound healing. Collagen directly, obviously, as well does that. And one thing that I found is clove oil. You can get it at pretty much any chemist. Very powerful stuff. You put that on the wound and it pretty much tastes terrible, but it numbs it for a good couple of hours. Sometimes I just swish it in my mouth and my whole mouth just goes numb for a few hours, and that was better than anything else, than the pain. They told me not to exercise during this period, and that added to my fucking insanity, because when shit goes wrong for me, that's what I do. I just focus on just getting a lot of exercise and eating well. And she was like, don't exercise for a while. And I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do all day just sitting here dealing with the pain, nothing to distract me. But then after a little while, I started to exercise again, and it seemed okay. It's been like a week and a half now, and it seems okay. It actually seems to help a bit now. So when I started to do all these things, there's also a couple of other things that I didn't do. What is it? Curcumin, I believe. They say helps. It's a couple of other things, but I didn't do any of that. So when I started to do all this, I did notice a difference. I did start to notice that the tooth is generally less painful and seems to be healing a bit faster. You can see the gum starting to close over the hole, and it's not as excruciating as it was, so don't need as much as the medicine. So, yeah, I'm still going through it now. I can still feel the pain right now as I'm speaking, this just sharp throbbing. I still have the infection. As soon as I stopped the Augmentin, it came back straight away. So it's still there. I'm still going through this. But when I started to do all those things, things did seem to get better. So I'll likely give another update once I've actually fixed this whole nightmare. I'm hoping the infection is related to that tooth, and once it closes over, it will resolve itself. If not, I may have to take other measures. But yeah, hopefully this video, if anyone finds it, who's going through this, I hope it gives you some hope that although it feels like it's not going to get better and it's the worst fucking pain on earth, and holy shit, it does feel like that, it gets better. And if you just try these things that I've suggested, hopefully it helps you. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Thanks, guys.